How did Boeing's most advanced jet lose its edge in under a decade while Airbus gained ground? They called it the Gamecher. The Boeing 7878 Dreamliner, first aircraft to blend carbon composites, world-beating range and fuel efficiency that makes rivals look ancient. Airlines lined up. Orders flooded in before the first prototype even flew. Aviation enthusiasts dreamed of a new golden age. But here's what nobody saw coming. Look at today's order books. The original Dreamliner, the 7878, accounts for just 25% of its own family's orders. Delta Airlines walked away from its inherited commitment entirely. United added A321 XLRs to their transatlantic strategy alongside wide bodies. The aircraft that launched Revolution now plays second fiddle to its own siblings. Meanwhile, the Airbus A35900 quietly conquered the exact market Boeing thought it owned. How does a technical breakthrough become a strategic afterthought? Today, we're exposing the Dreamliner paradox. How Boeing's original masterpiece became aviation's most expensive lesson in market timing. When the Boeing 7878 first rolled out, it wasn't just another jet. It was Boeing's moonshot. Early years saw over 390 orders pile up before the first flight. Japan's ANA couldn't wait to showcase it. Airlines worldwide fought for delivery slots. The 7878 looked unstoppable, but Airbus was watching, learning, planning their counter. Enter the A35900 in 2015, 4 years after the 7878 service entry. Same mission, different execution. The head-to-head numbers tell everything. 7,878, 248 passengers in a two-class configuration, 7.35 nautical miles. A35900-315 passengers in a two-class configuration, 8,500 nautical miles. The Airbus carried 67 more passengers, nearly 1,200 nautical miles further. Airlines could serve more passengers on longer routes with a single aircraft type. Today, the 7878 represents just 25% of total Dreamliner orders. The A35900 over 1,000 orders as the wide-body market's new benchmark. But the real wake-up call came from an unexpected source, an American carrier that inherited someone else's mistake. What happened when Delta Airlines discovered it owned jets it never wanted? Delta's relationship with the 7878. It tells the complete story of strategic obsolescence. When Delta finalized its acquisition of Northwest Airlines in 2010, it inherited something it had never ordered. 18 Boeing 7878 commitments placed by Northwest during pre-merger chaos. Delta's fleet planners took one look and saw the problem immediately. By 2016, after multiple deferrals, Delta made a definitive choice. Cancel the entire 7878 order. Their replacement strategy, an Airbus-dominated wide-body fleet featuring A35900s for premium routes and A330neos for everything else. Delta's reasoning was surgical. Why maintain a small 787 subfleet when Airbus aircraft offered superior economics, better passenger experience, and operational commonality across variants? The cancellation sent shockwaves through Boeing. A major U.S. carrier had walked away from the Dreamliner entirely, choosing European competitors for their long-haul future. Delta hadn't just rejected the 7878, it had rejected Boeing's entire wide-body strategy. Meanwhile, Boeing's own family dynamics were creating an internal war that would prove even more devastating. The 7878's worst enemy, it wasn't Airbus. It was Boeing's own 7879. When the larger variant arrived, airlines discovered a brutal truth. The 7879 offered 50 more passengers and longer range for only marginal cost increases. Every metric that mattered favored the bigger sibling. United Airlines exemplified this shift. Despite being the 787 launch customer in the United States, it consolidated their fleet entirely on the 7879, taking only a handful of 7878 deliveries to avoid subfleet complexity. The 7879 became Boeing's new sweet spot, around 290 passengers, 7,530 nautical miles of range, and economics that made the original look just worse. But Boeing faced a deeper problem. The A35900 wasn't just competing with the 7878. It was beating the entire Dreamliner concept. Singapore Airlines, Qatar Airways, Lufthansa, premium carriers that should have been Boeing strongholds chose Airbus for their flagship routes. The A35900's advantages were undeniable. Wider cabin, longer range, and crucially, it entered service without the teething problems that plagued early Dreamliners. Boeing's internal competition had created the perfect opening for Airbus to strike. Was this market evolution inevitable? Or had Boeing handed Airbus the victory? Remember January 2013? A brand new Japan Airlines 7878 sits on the tarmac in Boston. Smoke pours from its electrical bay. Within days, the entire global Dreamliner fleet is grounded. While Boeing fought lithium-ion battery fires for 3 months, Airbus accelerated a 350 development. The grounding wasn't just about batteries. Early 7878 suffered from weight issues, structural quirks, manufacturing inconsistency. Initial aircraft built were notorious, overweight, less reliable, and called the terrible teens. Some examples were written off as research expenses rather than sold. Boeing essentially admitted some jets were too flawed to deliver. Meanwhile, the A35900's 2015 entry avoided these pitfalls. When it entered service with Qatar Airways, it was mature, reliable, and immediately profitable for operators. The contrast couldn't be starker. Boeing's engineers endured years of problems, while Airbus delivered a polished competitor that worked from day one. Even as Boeing achieved 99.3% dispatch reliability by 2025, perception damage lasted years. The A35900 gained momentum while the 7878 fought to rebuild credibility. In aerospace, reputation defines market position. Boeing learned this lesson at tremendous cost. Inside Boeing's production facilities, data drove decisions with surgical precision. The 7879 and 78710 were, simply put, just selling better. Boeing's response was systematic. Production lines optimized for larger variants. Engineering resources focused on profitable programs. Sales efforts redirected toward the 7879 and 787110. The A35900's success intensified pressure. Over 1,000 orders proved Airbus wasn't just competing. It was capturing Boeing's highest value customers with superior seat mile economics. Boeing faced resource constraints too. The 737 MAX grounding consumed enormous capital and engineering focus. The 777X program has faced delays stretching into the late 2020s. The company couldn't afford to support an underperforming variant while fighting fires on multiple fronts. The 7878 became an afterthought maintained for contractual obligations, but starved of development resources. Recent delivery data confirms the shift: 17,878 delivered so far in 2025. The 78,792, with the 78,710 accounting for another 7 deliveries. The 7878 continues to be shunned by airlines. Sometimes survival means abandoning your first breakthrough for better opportunities. The 7878 faces aviation's cruelest reality: perfect aircraft for a vanishing mission. Stack it against the 7879. 46 more passengers, longer range, marginal cost increases. Airlines choosing between them, they pick the 7879 every time. Compare it to the A35900. 67 more passengers, 1,200 nautical miles of additional range. Wider cabin for superior passenger experience. The Airbus advantage becomes overwhelming. Factor in the A321XLR from below. Nearly matching passenger count at single-aisle operating costs with operational flexibility, the 7878 can't touch. The 7878 occupies aviation's death zone. Too small for high-revenue routes, too expensive for thin markets, too inflexible for modern network planning. United's strategy crystallizes this squeeze for international and transcontinental fleet expansion. It shows A321XLRS over any widebody. Single-aisle efficiency trumping traditional capability assumptions. Industry analysts call the 7878A transitional product necessary to prove what was possible before being overtaken by more refined solutions. But Boeing's learning curve became Airbus's opportunity. Every insight from 7,878 operations informed A359,000 design decisions. The middle ground. The 7878 occupied simply disappeared under competitive pressure. Airlines today operate by principles that didn't exist when the 7878 was conceived. Flexibility dominates everything, not raw capability. Airlines want aircraft that adapt instantly to demand fluctuations, route changes, and market evolution. Network strategies evolve too. Point-to-point growth favors higher frequency over larger aircraft. The A321XLR answers this directly, accessing long-haul markets with narrow body economics. Premium long-haul operators choosing between wide bodies increasingly pick the A35900's superior capacity and range. The 5-inch wider cabin became a marketing advantage. Airbus leveraged ruthlessly. The pandemic accelerated these trends. Airlines emerged demanding maximum operational flexibility, single aircraft solutions that could serve multiple missions. The 7878's narrow sweet spot became a strategic liability. Boeing's original Dreamliner represents yesterday's thinking that one aircraft could balance all competing priorities. Modern fleet planning demands specialization and clear advantages. The 7878 became a masterclass in how quickly market forces can obsolete even revolutionary designs. So why did the 787 fade while others advanced? Strategic miscalculations on multiple fronts? Boeing created internal competition between variants, while Airbus focused external pressure with the superior A35900. The inherited Northwest order that Delta ultimately rejected signaled broader industry skepticism. Technical problems during early service damaged credibility, while Airbus delivered mature alternatives. By 2024, the A321XLR's single-aisle revolution eliminated the 7878's core mission entirely. The harsh truth in aerospace: being first means nothing without sustained competitive advantage. Airbus learned from Boeing's development mistakes without paying them. For Boeing, it's a lesson in market positioning worth tens of billions. For airlines, it proved that specialization trumps compromise. For the industry, it shows how quickly revolutionary aircraft become footnotes. The 7878 broke technological ground but lost the strategic war. The broader Dreamliner family remains successful with over 2,600 total orders, but the original variant's relevance continues fading. As the A321XLR reshapes thin long-haul networks and the A35900 dominates premium routes, Boeing faces uncomfortable questions about their next mid-market strategy. The battle for aviation's future continues at 38,000 feet, and right now, Airbus holds the advantage. The 7878's decline isn't just aviation history. It's a preview of how quickly market leaders can lose ground when competitors execute better strategies. Will Boeing's next generation learn from its expensive lesson?